Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. In this program today, we will analyze the ceasefire pact between India and Pakistan. Armies of India and Pakistan have reached an agreement that both would strictly observe agreements and understandings regarding ceasefire along the line of control and all other sectors. This agreement, according to an official announcement, came into effect from the midnight of 24th and 25th February. In the agenda today, we will try to analyze this huge development and related aspects. We have with us former Deputy Chief of Indian Army Staff, Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh. From Pakistan, we are joined by Shahid Raza, who is an expert on strategic affairs. But before we start our discussion, have a look at this small report.
In a surprise announcement, armies of India and Pakistan have expressed commitment to strictly observe the ceasefire along the line of control in all other sectors. The agreement was possibly arrived through high-level back-channel talks but confirmed officially during an interaction between Director Generals of Military Operations of the two countries on Tuesday. A joint statement said, in the interest of achieving mutually beneficial and sustainable peace along the borders, the two DGMO agreed to address each other's core issues and concerns which have propensity to disturb peace and lead to violence. Both sides agreed for strict observance of all agreements, understandings and ceasefire firing along the line of control and all other sectors with effect from midnight of February 24-25. The ceasefire was first agreed upon by the two countries in November 2003. However, it remained effective only for a few years and has been violated by Pakistan thousands and thousands of times. The ceasefire violations by Pakistan are mostly to give cover to terrorists infiltrating into Jammu and Kashmir. According to government data, there were 11,000 border ceasefire violations by Pakistan in the last 3 years only. In these, more than 140 people, including civilians and security forces, were killed on the Indian side. Last year, Pakistan resorted to ceasefire violations 5,133 times, in which 46 Indian security forces personnel were killed, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh said in Parliament earlier this month. He said there had been 299 incidents of ceasefire violation this year till January 28. Considering the reasons because of which Pakistan resorts to ceasefire violations, there are legitimate questions as to how long the ceasefire agreement will last. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests, Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh and Shahid Raza from Pakistan. Welcome to both of you. Now today we'll talk about the huge development regarding ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan. General Gurmeet, I'll come to you first. How significant, we all know it's very welcome development if it is implemented in letter and spirit. But how do you see this development?
I firstly feel that the hotline contact between the two DGMOs of India and Pakistan is a very effective mechanism, and they have also issued a joint statement in which they have said that there will be a ceasefire on the LOC starting from midnight of 24th, 25th February. I think it's a welcome change because if you look at 2020, there was almost about 4,600 ceasefire violations and doesn't augur well. And this has come at a time when there was signaling and indications from Pakistan when right from the beginning of the February, especially Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan, he said about, Aman Ka Haath. And then on 5th February, when they have usually the Kashmir day for themselves, this time the tones were low. And if you look at 18th of February, when SARC meeting on Corona was held, they kept the Kashmir issue away. And thereafter, even when India had permitted Prime Minister of Pakistan for the airspace for his visit to Sri Lanka, I think these were the signals. And apart from that, it has also been learned from the media that there was a back channel meetings also, which has contributed into this aspect. But more importantly, I think this was really required.
Yeah.
And if you look at specifically, they have agreed for the strict observation of all agreements, understanding, and they have said that we will cease fire in the current dynamic. And apart from that, they have also reiterated both the sides that we must utilize the established mechanisms of hotline contact with the DGMOs and also the border flag meeting point and resolve issues. I think it's a good step. And importantly, this is also happening when we had the Chinese pullback from the eastern Ladakh. So the timing is also important from one point of view.
So, General Gurmeet, as you yourself mentioned, that DGMO mechanism has been there for maybe 2 decades or more than that. And we have other border point meetings also taking place. But they have not been really functional, I mean, effective on the ground. So, what do you think, as you mentioned about the positive development that have recently, or signals which took place recently, what could be the change of heart, if there is any?
Ajay, firstly, I feel this DGMO hotline is a very effective mechanism. This has been on since 1971, and every Tuesday, both the DGMOs talk. I have served twice in the military operations, and I have also, as an officiating DGMO, has spoken on this. I find it is a very effective method, and you would recall that after the surgical strike in 2016, we had informed them. And this has also been useful in solving many problems. So I personally think very strongly that this is an effective measure. In fact, it is quite possible that looking at the effectiveness of this DGMO hotline, we may also going towards a hotline between India and China in coming time. But you asked me categorically that what are the reasons. Firstly, I think Pakistan with their they have not changed their track since 22nd October 1947, and more precisely since 1989, when they have remained stuck to the state policies of terror, proxy, propaganda, and they've continued with hate India, anti-India, and actually they have burnt themselves. They have failed the nation, they have failed the people, and if you look at very microscopically at Pakistan, they have failed in every aspect of being, be it the economy, which is walking towards a disaster. Diplomatically, they have been isolated, and in governance, administration, they are absolutely in the worst state at the moment. And their choice of collusiveness with China has also not paid. In fact, 2020 has actually brought them to the reality to see what the state that Pakistan has landed up. I think those are the background, and what I said, the environment of the rethinking which is going on with them since February first week this year. And apart from that, you leave aside India, but look at what FATF has told them. In fact, they have given their decision that they'll continue on the grey list. And one of the think tank has also calculated how much damage it has done to the economy of Pakistan itself. In fact, he's gone about to say that 38 billion loss has been affected by Pakistan in his calculation. So I think this is a compulsion of Pakistan that they were into this for this request which they had to our DGMO.
Right. We have a strategic expert from Pakistan, Shahid. As you heard Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh giving a detailed overview, but there are some people who are asking rather, how long will it last? So, what do you think about it, Shahid?
Look, first of all, thank you again for having me on the show again. I would like to begin this conversation by saying that these ceasefire weapons, the escalation between India and Pakistan, and as my counterpart has already stated, that the ceasefire has been negotiated at the Director General of Military Operations level, the DGMO level between two countries, and it's a highly effective tool between the two countries for escalation reduction whenever it is required. Secondly, I think it is very important in the context that there has been a de-escalation between China and India as well in the recent days, and there was a statement from the Chief of Army Staff, General Bajwa, a few days ago, where he stated that Pakistan would like to extend a hand of peace in order to de-escalate tensions in South Asia. And obviously there are many different strategic issues in the background, especially because both India and Pakistan are suffering greatly, as indeed is the rest of the world, from the COVID-19 outbreak. It has had a severe economic impact on India's economy and on Pakistan's economy. So it might be a major contributing factor in how this ceasefire agreement has come to be. One thing I would like to clarify here is that there is no national security advisor level talks at the moment between India and Pakistan, and the National Security Advisor of Pakistan, Dr. Moeed Yusuf, has indeed issued a statement recently,
I
today,
saw that. Yeah,
that there has been no NSA level discussions between him and his counterpart, Mr. Ajit Doval, to the effect of establishing the ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan, and he has specified that it was specifically negotiated and at a professional level between the two armed forces through their DGMOs.
but
So another element
Yeah.
that might be playing a part in this agreement is the U.S. administration. There's a new government in the U.S. that is very interested in becoming a mediator between India and Pakistan. So it might be possible that the new American administration has played a part in bringing this ceasefire India and Pakistan, because there recently has been a very high level of strategic dialogue after the Biden administration took office between the U.S. and Pakistan military. So that might be one of the factors, and it lends more credence to this fact because the American government has vocally actually issued a statement appreciating this agreement between India and Pakistan, because there were a lot of casualties, civilian casualties that were taking place, and indeed the military casualties on both sides of the LOC for the past many months. So it is, from Pakistan's perspective, it is a welcome step.
Yeah, it's a welcome step from all perspectives. If everybody would welcome it, because peace is welcomed by everybody. But the issue is, as I asked, how long? Because we know actually the ceasefire agreement was reached in November 2003, and it remained in force for maybe a few years, and then there were all kinds of violations. It was violated, in fact, every day. So now people are asking, how long will it last? Shahid, what is your feeling?
Look, Ajay, personally speaking, I would want this ceasefire agreement to last for quite a long time, because people on both sides of the LOC are suffering greatly because of the ceasefire violations. And let me be very clear that the ceasefire violations take place from Indian side as well. I know that there are a lot of my colleagues in India who like to blame Pakistan for every ceasefire violation that takes place. That's just not true. There is a United Nations observer group on both sides of the LOC that monitors ceasefire violations, and I'm sure they would have some statistics to prove that what kind of ceasefire violations have taken place from Pakistan and indeed from India. So we have to understand, in the interest of a fair discussion, that ceasefire violations.
But I will guess even UN
both sides.
I will guess the UN, MOGIP will also not know what actually happens at the LOC, because I don't think they have access to those areas, isn't it, Shahid?
I think they do have some highly effective measures in place, because their specific purpose is to take a record of ceasefire violations. So I'm sure the UN observer group, that is military observer group that is present along in and around the LOC region, is able to specify who exactly the ceasefire violations. And I'm not I've specified that it's been a bilateral problem between India and Pakistan, and it's a welcome step that both countries have signed this agreement. I would personally hope that this ceasefire stands, and it could evolve further into peaceful resolutions of outstanding conflicts. And I would, in this context, I would like to mention another statement that was issued by the visiting Pakistani Prime Minister to Sri Lanka recently, and where he stated that the only problem India and Pakistan really have is Kashmir, and if it is resolved through peaceful means, that South Asia can progress as it probably it should have, like other European zone is, or other countries are, through multilateral cooperation. So I believe that there is some.
So something must be happening at the back channel.
There is some.
So something must be happening at the back channel. But yeah. I'm saying something must have been happening at the back channel, maybe. So I'll go to General Gurmeet Singh. He's waiting. So General Gurmeet Singh, I'll ask you the same question, because people are asking, how long will this last? Because it has to be implemented on the ground in letter and spirit. And we know most of these ceasefire violations take place because they are taken, giving cover to infiltrating terrorists. So shall we assume that terrorist infiltration will stop if ceasefire violations have to stop?
Ajay, that's a very obvious question to say that how long will this ceasefire last? Because we tried it in 2018 also, when both the DGMOs had given a similar statement. And but one must see that in the background, why does this ceasefire violations happen? Why does Pakistan violate the ceasefire? Firstly, it is usually accompanied with an attempt to infiltrate. Secondly, it is because of rogue elements in their armed forces which are deployed in the LAC. And thirdly, it is because of the Pakistan Army and ISI whenever they desire to vitiate the environment of the LAC. So these are the three reasons because of which they do it. And let me tell you one thing very categorically. India, the counter-infiltration grid and the way Indian armed forces dominate the LOC is remarkable. In fact, whenever Pakistan in the past has violated the ceasefire, we have given specific, punitive and precise retaliation to that, and it has caused a substantial damage. Next point is that we saw that in 2020, in what happened in the LOC in the Eastern Ladakh, correspondingly it was happening in the LOC. No wonder that in 2020 there were almost 4,649 LOC ceasefire violations, which is rather big. In fact, I would say that the situation where Pakistan has reached itself, it has the internal stability is in a very critical stage. It's all parameters of the nationhood are in very critical stage. Many large numbers of the parameters are moving towards disaster. So Pakistan is in a very compulsive situation at the moment. In fact, they are working towards self-destruction if they do not carry out a strategic reversal from their policies of terrorism, policies of Kashmir, what they had earlier. So I think this is a compulsion for them too. But at the same time, one thing is definite. The people who have suffered the maximum are the border villages near the LOC. See, we have a 740 kilometers of LOC and 221 kilometers of the IB sector.
Yeah.
And overall, the boundary is 3,323 kilometers. I think it is important that both the sides must maintain peace. And this DGMO level effort is not effort of only DGMO. This involves the leadership of both the sides, because everything that has been done is with the approval of the leadership. And it is an all-government approach. And you're right, Ajay, when you say that it's a back channel communication. There's been an effort to bring peace. There's an effort to bring sanity in this entire aspect of it.
But my question, General Gurmeet, is, as I asked, most of the violations take place because they are for giving cover to infiltrating terrorists. So should we assume if there is no ceasefire violation, so should we assume that there will be no infiltration?
They can't be this assumption by any chance. We have seen that from 22nd October 1947, they've been on the track of hate India, anti-India, and from 89 they've been on the track of terrorism as a key state policy. So therefore, I think, let me be very clear about one thing. Going in for the ceasefire, giving a joint statement by the DGMOs, it does not mean the key issues have been resolved between India and Pakistan.
Yeah, I'll come to that.
But I'll come to that. Issues remain.
Right. That DGMOs have agreed to address each other's core issues and concerns. What does that mean? What is our concern? What is our concern?
Absolutely. Our concern is terrorism.
So
the terrorism emanates from there. It is that the Pakistan Army, ISI terrorist group are deeply into terrorism. It's not only India which is saying, it's the entire world. It's the FATF which is saying. Second is the interference of Pakistan into Kashmir. Their abetment, their funding, sending of the terrorists. This has got to stop. In fact, let me tell you one thing categorically. There's a zero tolerance on terrorism. In fact, what we had earlier said is that there'll be no talk till the time the terror emanates from there. These are the core issues. And until they move away from that, there are others also. You remember what we said in our parliament on 5th August 2019.
Right.
I think it's very categorically a statement which Pakistan knows about it.
Yeah.
So these are the key issues which are between India and Pakistan.
So, Shahid, I'll come to you. What are the, as I mentioned about the agreement, that is DGMOs agreed to address each other's core issues and concerns. So, we know India's chief core concern is terrorism. So, what is Pakistan's core concern? Shahid, can you hear me? I think he is not able to hear me. We have to patch him again. General Gurmeet, I'll come to you again. So, I want to play, if I am a cynic, so should I assume, I'll again ask a question. I assume that terrorism, Pakistan cannot stop exporting terrorists to Kashmir or elsewhere in the country. So, for that, they have to infiltrate terrorists. And for that, they will have to give cover through ceasefire violations, isn't it? So, how will it be implemented on the ground? Or maybe you know better.
Ajay, let me be absolutely clear about it. I spent 10 years in Jammu and Kashmir. I've worked on the LOC. I've visited Pakistan twice. So on the dent of my experience, I can say one thing is there that India has zero tolerance on terrorism. We have a very effective counter-infiltration grid. We dominate the line of control. With these aspects as the background, let me tell you one thing. Our alertness level, our preparedness level and readiness level will be even more higher in this particular time. We have to ensure that Pakistan is absolutely cut off from their support to the anti-national element within Kashmir, and they are not able to induct the terrorists from there, and so therefore no attempt of infiltration will be tolerated.
No,
if it is accompanied with the ceasefire violation, it will be replied, it will be retaliated punitively and precisely as we've been doing. In fact, whenever we have gone in for a retaliation to Pakistani's attempt of ceasefire violation, it has been absolutely professional, punitive and precision. That's the reason. Even if you look at the present talk on the DGMO level, it is the Pakistan side which were accusing Indian side of the violation in which they had lost 4 soldiers. India side had refuted it. And thereafter, with the approval from the leadership, both the sides have gone in for announcing and a joint statement for ceasing the fire on the LOC.
No, I know what we will be doing, but I am asking again, is there really a change of heart in Pakistan army? So will they stop exporting terrorists to India? Do you think that?
Let me be candid. You can't expect Pakistan to have a change of heart until unless we see it. It has to be verifiable. We need to check it. Then only we can say they have a change of heart. But as at the moment, there is no change of heart. As at the moment, Pakistan is still continuing with the state policies of supporting the terrorism emanating from there. As at the moment, Pakistan Army, ISI and terrorist group are still deeply involved in terrorism. There is no change of heart, but there is a change of compulsion for them. There is a change of compulsion because they have seen that they had gone in for China-Pakistan collusiveness and they were collectively trying to create an environment of a national security threat to India, both from LAC and LOC. And we have seen that China, after 10 months of talking, 10 months of border standoff, they have pulled back. It's the first time in the history of China that they pulled back on the place from where they came. So it's a very big strategic win for India. And if you look at coherently and parallelly from Pakistan side, they have also realized, they have come to know, they have realized what the Indian armed forces combat potential, strength, capability and skills are. They also know that Indian leadership is into a big trend of resolve, a hard decision and national will. They know that for our national sovereignty and territorial integrity, we will walk any mile, any length and give any sacrifice for that.
So could it be, an attempt to lull us into complacency? General Gurmeet.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. In fact, they are just asking for a pause. It may be a tactical pause, a strategic pause, but we have to remain absolutely alert. There is no doubt about this. In fact, whether there is if collectively there is a ceasefire and LSC, we have to ensure that the entire apparatus of terrorism and anti-India activities that Pakistan does and the collusiveness that they have with China, that must be dismantled in totality. And it should be seen, it should be verifiable. In fact, entire world is looking at the Pakistan. They are not convinced. Just a matter of 2 days that they said that the grey list will continue.
Yeah.
If the world is not convinced, how can you and me be convinced about it?
Yeah, General Gurmeet Singh, we are running out of time. We have to close. One last question. Suppose if there is a terror attack, so does this agreement bind us from carrying out another Balakot type attack? Last comment.
Let me tell you, Ajay, let me tell you very categorically. India has gone into the format of a preemptive and proactive action. If there is a terrorist attack which emanates from Pakistan, and there are sufficient evidences of that, then there is no doubt there will be preemptive and proactive action. And today, we are talking on the day of 26th February.
Yeah.
We have done it 2 years back, and we will do it any time again. There should be no doubt. In fact, see, this agreement, this joint statement at the DGMO level is to improve the environment at the LOC. But it does not mean that the core issues are over. Let's understand that very firmly.
Right. So core issues remain, and we are not, we reserve the right to take preemptive action if there is some big terror attack. But the time of this program is over. Thank you for participating in this debate.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.